This is the first time that I played Frontline since the sandbox last year. So I knew from the sandbox that having a good sniping position was very important for winning the game because you want to be able to reset the cap. And this is actually one of the maps that I like to snipe with. And this is one of the best tanks to do it. This tank has a very fast aim time. It's quick to get around the battlefield, and it has high penetration. So this is a very powerful tank. This is going to be one of those tanks that's ideal in the game. You want a tank that has high penetration. You're going to want another tank that has really strong armor, and you're going to want a tank that's fast and autoloaders. So for penetration, you're going to go with the STRV, and the Charioteer is another high penetrating tank that I have. For armor, you're going to go with the Chrysler K, etc. So I decided to start with this position since we have some spots already. And for the most part, I'm actually happy with the penetration. Now, in order to reset the cap, you have to have a good view of the cap. You have to find the sniping position. I haven't found a sniping position yet. I am working on the perfect position, but I have some that have benefits. Like this is a location that you can use. There's a lot of objects in the way. It's not perfect. Normally, I would go further south. You can see that there's an AMX CDC who is south of me, directly south of me. Maybe we'll be going there in this game. Basically that position right there. Where I was firing at, where that T-44 was, that's a good place to snipe from. However, you will encounter enemy tanks very frequently because they're going to go there to snipe also. Now, there's a lot of things you have to do differently in Frontline. Frontline has huge maps. So things you have the vertical stabilizer and the gun laying drive, and you've got the gun rammer and the coated optics, and the list goes on. Your priorities are going to have to change when you play the Frontline mode. You want to aim as quickly as possible because you're going to be firing from far away far more often. So you're going to want the vertical stabilizers and the gun laying drives on any tanks that you can put them on, and any of the crew skills that stabilize the gun handling. That's obviously a defender. You can see that the gun penetrated it easily. It aims very quickly. It aims very well. I also have the UDAS. The UDAS, if you get the higher gun, it also has a high penetrating gun. I'm not sure if I can see it. Okay, the 288 penetration, which might be the highest of all the Tier 8 tanks. I'm not sure. What I could do is I could get my UDAS. Okay, the problem with the UDAS and the STRV is that they share the same crew, so I have to pick one or the other. But then what happens if this tank gets knocked out, if it dies, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can respawn. So what I might do is put another crew in my UDAS in case I need it as a backup, just a bare bones crew, in case I need a high penetrating gun to get back in the game. Now you're going to say, when do you need a high penetrating gun? There's going to be games where there's a defender or a similar well-armored tank that's on the cap and is being a pain in your butt. And you're going to need a high penetrating gun in order to knock him out. I've seen it with the defender. I've seen the Alpine Tiger and the Ferdinand. Those were a couple of the tanks that I was confronted with while playing that were well equipped in terms of armor. If you see an Alpine Tiger replay in this video, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And a Ferdinand. So now this sniping position, obviously you can use this to play the game. we'll compare this with the other sniping positions on this side. And like I said, it's going to take a long time to find all the possible sniping positions. You can see there's a position up there. You know, I should have tried that out. I haven't tried that position out, but it's a possibility that I might want to try parking up there. Maybe you can get up onto this upper level here. So finally, I'm advancing to this ridge. Most of the map is the same. However, I thought that one of the maps said, okay, I was wrong. I got confused in my memory. Okay, so here's one of the sniping positions that you can use. I do get spotted here, so you're not going to be invisible. It's too bad I missed that shot. It was an easy shot. You have to have amazing situational awareness when you play this game. You can get shot at from any direction, but the shots usually come from the same few places. They usually come from the same sniping locations. Okay, so my team is doing pretty good. I got 1,900 damage so far. I actually got spotting damage on that KV-4. So that goes to show you how well I show you my spotting range, how I was able to spot that tank, and my team was unable to. Now here's an example where I'm going too far forward. Again, this was my first game. I wouldn't make this mistake again. Now he's just going to sit there, and there's nothing I can do except play games with each other. It's not like he's going to come out and let me shoot him. Okay, so he and one of his allies killed me. So then what happens, I got 20 seconds before I can respawn. I'm thinking about what tank I'm going to use, and you can choose to go at the A spawn, the B spawn, the C spawn, although there is a limit of 12 or 13 tanks per zone. And I decided, it looks like the Progetto. Okay, so it looks like the Progetto. The problem with my Progetto is that it's a new tank, so I don't even have the first skill completed. So it's basically got camouflage. There's no Sixth Sense, no BIA, if you look at the range of my spotting ability, it doesn't go all the way out to the white circle. That was a lousy shot. You notice I'm trying to ram this tank. If he lets me ram him, I'm going to ram him. I always use ramming as a technique when trying to do damage to an enemy tank. And I don't have the ramming crew skill on any of my tanks. I got 120 tanks. None of them have that ramming. Controlled impact is what it's called. But I hope to get it someday. I'm up to 5 crew skills on almost every tank. I have one tank that has 6 crew skills, which is the AMX 1390. So now here I am at the base that the enemy is trying to attack. And I decided to go in and try to reset this guy. I'm going to show you a better technique for doing it. I learned ways to do it that worked out really well. That was not a very successful method. You'll notice that I don't have any repair kits. I made that mistake. I forgot to resupply automatically my repair kits. I probably only played 2 games in this tank. That's how new it is. I accidentally have the recon skill. I don't recommend having that as your first combat reserve. So in other games, you're going to see that I did remove it, and I use the artillery as my first combat reserve. You want to do whatever it takes to reset the cap. Even if you're going to die, you got to reset that cap. So don't worry about dying. Okay, so I've got 20 seconds to respawn. Now I wisened up and I said, okay, I'm going to need some armor. So I decided to try the Chrysler K. Oh, I guess I switched to the Lorraine. I was thinking about trying the Chrysler K. But you can watch my Chrysler K videos. It should be included in the stream. And you're going to find that the Chrysler K works out really well. Okay. Now, the T92, you can reset the cap very quickly. You can see that the cap is, they're halfway capped, and I can rush in as fast as I can and just start blasting tanks and hope to reset. So this is one of the tactics that you use to reset the cap. I aim the gun in the direction on the mini-map that I want to head, and then I align my tank to follow the direction of the gun. Now you can see that we're ready to reset the cap. You got to go for the tanks in the cap. Ignore all of his friends, and you got to kill tanks. They got to die. So I got 3 hits. That's 4. And I was taken out. Unfortunately, because it was my first game in Frontline in over a year, I was taken out of the game frequently in the first game. It was a little bit of a difficult game. So now I'm considering another method, which is using an autoloader such as Lorraine. You want to do the same thing. You want to reset that cap. At all costs, no matter what it takes, you reset that cap. So we've got 2 minutes to get there. If you had only 30 seconds left, you probably wouldn't make it with most tanks. So you need to have a little bit of speed if you're going in to make a run to reset the cap. And because the cap has been reset, maybe I won't need to do it when I get down there. But you can see that the enemy is approaching the cap. I saw that T-69, so I decided I would gang up on him. And I'm going to ram him. I did 193 ramming damage. You want to ram using the strong part of your armor, the frontal part. And you don't want to hit him flat on. You want to try to hit like his track. Okay, again, I'm not worried about the fact that I died. I wasn't able to reset the cap. So let's move on. Okay, so I'm going in with the AMX cannon, the assault. Let's see what the penetration is on this. 260, it's less than the STRV. But I think this tank is a little bit easier to play than the STRV because you don't have to switch between the firing modes. No one's going to surprise you. You know, people can jump on you and surprise you with the STRV. It doesn't happen with a tank like this. So obviously I'm spotted. There's somebody in the field there who's spotting me that we don't know who he is. I'm going to advance. So what I thought I would do is take up a sniping position. And as the enemy tries to head north, I would snipe at him. You want to choose your tank based on the strategy or the tactic that you want to use. If you think that they're going to be shooting at you a lot, you need strong armor. If you got to go for something far away, you need speed. If you think you can hide from them, you want a high penetrating gun so that you can snipe with from a long distance. So in this case, I decided I'm probably going to be far away from them. They're going to have to come to me. I'm going to be patient and get a high penetrating gun. You can see that they know I'm here. They're at some point they're going to come in this direction. There's enough enemy tanks that eventually they will come after you, especially because I'm all by myself. They're going to think that I'm an easy target, so they think that they can gang up on me. So it's very important to stay alive and be aware of what's going on and be aware if someone might be chasing after you. I do have 2 repair kits, so... Oh yeah, he's going to kill me. I'm going to try to do a reverse move to reverse behind him. So the move that I was doing is I was turning my tank, but I wasn't going to be able to turn fast enough. So the other technique you can use is as he goes behind you, you start reversing, and he continues to drive forward, and then you point your gun at his rear. That's basically what the technique is. Okay, so this game is almost over, and I was on the defending team. There is a chance we're going to win. Let's accelerate it a little bit. So it's possible that the game's going to be won right now. I think they're going to get an overtime. Yeah, they got the overtime. Now, the reason why they got the overtime is because they're in the process of capping E. And yeah, and what happens is if they're on a cap when the time runs out, they get a chance at going into overtime. So let's advance. Okay, so now we're in the same situation where the enemy is heading north, and I want to stop their advance. So I'm either going to do long-distance sniping, or I'm going to put in a strong frontally armored tank. I decided to try different tank destroyer. It's possible that the tank that I wanted to use was not available. And you'll notice that I'm heading to the west because you want to be... I was spotted, so I have to remain within solid cover to make it difficult for the enemy to shoot at me. So I'm heading west because you want to get the crossfire. The crossfire is bad for the enemy. One thing that I'm doing right now is I'm going too far north. So at this point, I have to wait for the enemy to come to me, which means I might sit here not firing my gun. If you don't fire your gun, you don't get any damage, you don't get any EXP, you don't get any kills. So I think what I did was I changed my mind, and I decided to start heading south again. There's a sniping ridge to the south of me where the T-44FL is. Was able to penetrate that tank through those boxes. So I'm probably going to head to the southern ridge where the T-44 is. I guess maybe not. That tank is 548 meters away. There's a lot of long-distance firing when you play with Frontline. There's nothing really special about this game. In the other replays that I have, I've got great tactics, great sniping positions, a lot of fun things happen, a lot of things that you need to know about playing the game. I can show you a tactic that I use to win the game, etc. So we've got less than 10 seconds. We might win this game. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to win. There's no way they can win. And we won. Now, I've heard other people, famous YouTubers, say that the attacking team wins every game. It's not true. It's a defending team that wins every game. I've won attacking before, and other people have won attacking before. The attacking team has a huge disadvantage. The defending team has a huge advantage because the attacking team doesn't understand how important it is to cap as quickly as possible and to get to the objectives as quickly as possible. They just don't do it. I got 7,133 damage in this game, 1,537 spotting damage in this game. And I got the achievement level of captain, which is pretty good. You know, I get it more than once. In more than one game, I get the captain. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the overview of my first game, and the other videos that I do are not going to be necessarily just gameplay. They're going to be the little snippets, each sniping position, each little tactic, so they're going to have a lot more information.